everybody.
Hi.
It's Kim and Jen from Fleece and Harmony, coming from the Fleece and Harmony mill in Belfast, Prince Edward Island. This is our knitting podcast, farm update podcast.
Episode 65.
Episode 65 that you're going to see on February 5th.
Yes.
And we have lots of stuff to show you, our knitting and projects and talking about our farm.
Yes.
And other things in the show.
We don't know what else.
Yeah, we don't know what else.
Lord only knows.
Whatever comes into our head.
Okay, so we don't really have a farm update. It's like +8.
It's the weather update.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the weather girls today.
So February 2nd.
Yes.
We had a gigantic snowstorm.
Yes, with deep, deep snow.
Like 25 centimeters at least.
Yeah.
And it was what temperature?
Oh, well, -6 maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's quite a difference.
Yeah.
Then it went up to +8.
Yeah, that's right.
And it rained.
All night.
Like the Dickens.
Yes.
With wind. There was a wind blowing through the house. My toilet water was moving.
It was?
Yes.
Oh. Well, a tree was blown down over the fence in the horse pasture this morning, too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, no, my toilet water was moving. That's how windy it was in my bathroom.
Yeah.
So that was a cold night. I had the hot water bottle. I had the stove cranked. I had...
Well, by midnight it was like 8 degrees. But...
Yeah. I love my hot water bottle.
Yeah, I think it's just an excuse to use the hot water, the cashmere covered hot water.
I'd snuggle up to that thing like it's a life preserver.
Yeah, okay. So we had the most snow that we've had all year, and today we can see the green grass again.
Yep.
That's it.
And all the dog poop, which is so pleasant.
Yeah, that's great. And now it's muddy.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
So...
And we have our summer's knitting on.
One day, mud season, we decided to wear... Well, I'm wearing my Ranunculus because everybody always asks me how I made it, and I haven't posted on Ravelry, and I still haven't, but just so you know, I knitted exactly to the pattern, same needle size, 1 ball of our ELDON lace, which we have in stock. So if you want to pick some up to knit this little ditty...
It's incredible that it's 1 ball.
Yeah,
actually.
and I did the regular version. There's also a larger version of the pattern. But yeah, 1 ball of our ELDON lace. This is it. And people always ask how I did it. I didn't do anything differently. I just grabbed the needles that were recommended and I knit the thing.
Yeah.
There was nothing to it. And then, of course, I sewed these Swarovski crystals on.
Right.
And you're wearing your Cornwallis.
Cornwallis, yes, made of Summerlite DK.
Which is really nice. I have to say, super soft.
Yeah.
I was admiring it.
Okay.
So we don't necessarily have an exciting farm update, but we have a food update.
Okay.
Because you're on some kind of thing. And then my update is in stark contrast to yours.
Right. So am I going first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
So I have a friend that did this kind of she didn't call it a detox, but anyway, she gave up caffeine, sugar, dairy, and alcohol for 28 days. And then she posted about how great she's feeling and how reinvigorated she is and all the energy, and she's not sweating at night. No night sweats.
Okay.
So I was
Sounds beneficial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sleeping deep sleep more hours than what normally, so people that are my age understand. Anyway, so I thought, well, that's going to be great. I'm going to try that. So no caffeine, no sugar, no dairy, and no alcohol. So this is what I do at night when I come home.
Normally.
A glass of wine. Yes, normally.
Okay.
I have a glass of wine, and I sit and knit for a little while. Ken usually does the cooking, so he brings out supper. Then after that, we have a latte made in my coffee machine that we have, and we have some cookies and our little lunch before bed. And then in the morning when I wake up, I drink about 4 cups of coffee in bed before I'm even out of the bed. So now this is 36 hours in, and I've been doing it. And I have a headache like you would not believe because of the caffeine withdrawal. And I took a Tylenol finally because I don't even take
She never takes anything.
I don't take anything. But I can't. I'm hoping that there's no caffeine in the Tylenol.
It's a special... No.
Okay.
You can get it. If your Tylenol 2s have caffeine and codeine, I think, a little bit.
Okay. So
but that's not what you took.
Those. No, just a regular Tylenol.
It's a special kind of headache that you get when you try to give up caffeine.
Yeah.
It's like your whole head is in a vice.
That's right. Yeah. And I used to get migraines when I was a teenager, and this is really even more.
It's annoying as anything.
Yes, it is.
I usually give it up. Well, I haven't had caffeine for months because of all kinds of other
You know what it
problems.
feels like? It feels like somebody's hitting you on the back of the head with a pool needle. noodle over and over again. It's
think
a
it's
dull,
worse than that.
throbbing. Well, it's distracting.
Feels
for
like
sure.
a swelling. Is it a swelling?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's 36 hours.
Not pleasant.
Yeah, and the last time that I did this, I did give up caffeine like 15 years ago. I had this headache for 3 weeks. So
mine usually lasts like a day and a half,
Yeah,
but I'm
well,
not to 4 cup of morning
yeah,
type. I mean, I
hard-
have no
I
idea.
love coffee. I really do, and
I do
Kit
too,
Kat-
but I might always have one, but it's decaf.
yeah.
That's the secret. Like it's just a crutch at this point. Like there's nothing in this. It's
Yeah.
just I like the warm juice.
Anyway, so that's that.
If I switched to lemon water as my warm juice, I'd probably solve all kinds of other problems.
Yeah, I actually like that. And
I should just do that.
and
like,
I-
why am I putting these
yeah.
chemicals in my body?
And I'm drinking that Aveda tea that you gave me.
Oh, good.
too.
The licorice.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
like the licorice flavor. Right?
I like it okay. I forget why I decided.
Because you said you didn't like the licorice.
Oh, I think I don't like. It's something else. It's not stevia, but there's something like that in it that I don't
Yeah.
like. It's not the licorice so
Oh,
much.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been drinking that. It's very keeping me calm.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Fair
I have a
warning.
very high threshold for pain too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm-
I mean, for sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody's had the gut. I usually give it up, like I said, when I'm sick, and then it's like, is the headache from the flu or from the who cares, whatever. And then
Yeah.
by the time you're better, you've given it up cold turkey without even noticing.
apparently the sugar part takes at least 10 days before you really start to see the benefits. Like, I don't know if that's 10 days till it's sort of all worked out of your system or whatever. So I'm going to see how that goes. And I would have thought I would be the last person on earth that have to stop eating sugar because I don't really have a sweet tooth. I've developed a sweet tooth because I have
An enabler.
an enabler.
That'd be
Because
Ken.
I never used to eat any. I would
and
pass on dessert.
refined carbohydrate. Like your cupboard, I was over there to borrow some oats to make some very healthy oat cakes. And it's like the cookies and the crackers and the chips and if it's on sale, he buys like 6 of them. So
know.
I mean, that's a lot. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I love sweets and crackers, and I'm a carb addict for sure. But I don't have all that in my cupboard. I don't have
Yeah.
a cracker, not one.
No.
And here's
Wow.
why: because I bought a little bag of goldfish crackers last week, and I ate them all within a 24-hour period.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a lot of goldfish crackers.
Well, that wouldn't tempt me, but
The cheese ones are really good. But I bought the
Aren't
wrong
they all
kind.
cheese?
No, they're not. That's why I thought they were too.
Yeah.
But the originals are the plain ones that like you get with chowder.
Oh,
Remember?
okay.
So I bought those by accident thinking they were cheese, and then I was like, well, I'm just going to eat all of these because I
It's
can't.
just like
I don't want to live
salty
with
little-
this failure.
yeah.
Like I'm going to eat these now so that I can go buy the cheddar ones I actually wanted later.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's why I don't have that stuff because
Yeah.
I can't. I can't
say
resist it,
no.
and I carbs once
Yeah.
I get on that. But the irony is, you've given up sugar,
Yes.
and I can't eat because
Right.
of these bite turbos. So everybody who wrote and told me how much these braces were going to be awesomely worth it, I want to know if you had bite turbos where you can't close your mouth all the way, because not worth it. So it's been. Well, actually, I had just had them adjusted last recording. It's been 2 full weeks. I'm still
Yeah.
swallowing most of my food whole.
Yeah.
So I thought, that's enough of that. So I ate soup, cream of chicken, cream of broccoli, cream of celery for a week, and then I kept forgetting.
Cream of celery.
I know.
You must have been desperate.
I'm like,
You bought that to make some recipe.
yeah,
on
and I'm
Lady
like,
Spoons.
this is the cream in my exactly. This is the cream soup I have in my cupboard. I'm eating it. I found out if you melt cheese and everything,
Oh,
you're
okay.
all good.
Oh.
So it's not
Unless
cream
you're
of
not
celery
eating
and
dairy.
cheese, cream of broccoli and cheese, cream of chicken and cheese. No.
Okay.
Anyway, I was on the cream soup thing for a while. I had some ice cream bars, but literally, like, even the chocolate coating on the ice cream bar was, like, too much to take.
Okay.
So then I decided, though, that for Valentine's Day, I was going to make chocolate-covered cherries. Got the cherries with the stems, had the fancy chocolate left over from my Christmas peppermint bark plants.
Which we're still waiting.
Never
to
made the peppermint bark yet, but it's still coming. And I've never made the chocolate-covered cherries from scratch before. So you make the fondant, ate a fair amount of that. That goes down pretty easy. Melt in your mouth. Don't have to chew it, right? So I got into I made like 10. They lasted an hour.
Right. I
Ate
didn't
all
even see
10.
one.
No. Didn't, like, nobody got one.
Yeah.
Not for Valentine's Day. For Jennifer's mouth.
Yeah.
Ate them all. Next night, made a bunch more. They lasted probably a couple hours. Ate them all. Then I have this little dish that I melt my chocolate in the microwave. It works really well because it's kind of like one of those bad microwave dishes. So it absorbs all the heat. Oh. But then what happens is you just heat the dish up, put the chocolate in it, and it works like a double boiler. Like it melts the chocolate really nicely because there's like a radiant heat coming from the dish. Melted up a bunch of chocolate, made the cherries again. Noticed that my cherry jar was getting a little low and there was like a lot of juice left. And then I had some chocolate left. So I poured the excess cherry juice into the melted chocolate, stirred it up, and ate it with a spoon.
Or something?
It didn't actually. I know you would think.
Yeah.
But I think maybe there's enough sugar in the juice, or I stirred it up and I'll show a picture, but it makes this red velvet concoction.
Yeah.
Which I ate with a spoon.
All right.
Because it was left over.
Right.
So that was the responsible thing to do. The problem is I'm now making myself more of that every day.
Right.
In fact, now the cherry juice is below the cherry level in the jar. I had to top that up with Fireball just so that the cherries were still in liquid.
Gosh. Oh dear.
So I was.
So after all this, how many have you made now?
I've made almost a whole jar of cherries, and I have one still in my cupboard.
Yeah. One cherry?
Yeah.
So how many cherries have I gotten?
One.
Yeah.
But I'm obviously going to have to buy more.
I'm saving it because it's supposed to cure to make the liquid.
I know. Mine never make it that far.
So I've got mine in my cupboard, and now I'm on this 28-day thing.
Yours will be well cured by then.
I'm going to splurge and have it when I think
on Valentine's Day?
How long does it...
a week or two.
A week or two.
You're probably good.
Well, I can't do it on the first... It's only the second day. I can't do that. Maybe it's to celebrate 1 week.
I just meant cherry-wise. Anyway, I know. I make them and I eat them. I make them and I eat them. I make them and I eat them. They're supposed to be for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is weeks away. I have one cherry left. Day. I know. I like the sweets.
See the episode from last Valentine's Day.
Right. So now I'm just spooning liquid chocolate into my mouth for calories and enjoyment, and I can hardly wait to tell my orthodontist. He's going to be so impressed.
Yeah,
cherry juice and chocolate. Since you put these things in my mouth, I can't eat.
Yeah,
this is what it's come to.
Yeah,
and of course I confess everything to Rachel, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing now, and she's like, what's happening to you? Like, I feel like we could call it pudding. She's like, no, can't call it pudding. So then I was like, what could I add to make it pudding? Cream? And she said, no, that's ganache.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's desperate times.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what you have to do.
It's better than cream and celery soup. I'm sorry.
Well, I have to agree with that.
Right. So everybody thinks it's a good idea.
I don't understand how all of the good kinds of soup that have been on the market come and go, but cream and celery is still there. I don't understand. Just because.
What do you even do with it? Because I think you're right. I bought it for a recipe, but I don't know what recipe.
I don't know. Probably something out of the Looney Spoons.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, but yet when I look in the Looney Spoons cookbook, I can't find any need for cream and celery soup. I think I maybe bought it by mistake, and it's cream of broccoli that I needed.
Which is also not a big...
It's really good with the cheese in it.
Is it? Okay. With enough cheese in it.
Yeah, I put a lot in.
All right.
So you should have these things on your mouth.
Yeah.
Because you're eating less, and I should not.
No, I didn't say I'm eating less. I'm not eating less.
You're just
There's
eating
all
less enjoyable.
kinds of other food groups that don't have sugar, especially if you like carbs.
Caffeine, alcohol, and what else?
That's right.
Okay.
Dairy.
Just the three. Dairy. Oh my God.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be too strict on the dairy part.
I would definitely starve to death if I had not being able to chew and doing that at the same time. In fact, I found that picture of what I think I'm going to look like when my braces are finished.
What picture's that?
I'll put it up. This is pretty much what I'm going to look like.
Well, I don't know. You're really packing a punch with the cherry juice and chocolate. I'm sure you're turning into a skeleton on that.
I want some more right now.
Yeah,
just talking about it. Okay.
All right.
Whip and rip.
Okay. No rips.
No. I'm considering doing a rip.
You're missing your rip. Somebody asked what a drip was.
It's a dream in progress.
Yes.
I made it up.
Yes.
It's not a real thing. It is
just
now.
On the fly.
Just for us. Okay. So I'm working on Sunset by Kim Hargreaves, which is in this book, which we now have back in stock.
Yeah.
Coming. Okay. So many nice projects in this book.
They're going to be here on February 9th.
And it's lovely.
Yeah.
I know.
Is that Kid Silk's?
No, mixed with maybe.
Yes, I think so.
But I love this book. Okay, anyway. So this design here is knit with hand knit cotton. which you can't spit splice.
No.
Which is,
Cotton, you can't
is
split splice.
one point. The other point is it's knit with 2 different size needles. So you knit in a smaller needle and you purl back in a larger needle. And it's
kind of cool.
It's cool. And
yeah.
I think what it does is the small needle creates a row in between each of these loopy rows that probably gives it a lot more structure and makes it quite a bit like less likely to stretch, I think. Because if you did the whole thing in the giant needle, it would probably drape like crazy.
Like a netty.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty cool technique, and it's actually pretty fun and funky, and it makes a nice effect.
Yeah.
So the problem is, though, when you go to swatch, you're dealing with 2 different needle sizes. I was like, what do I do? So the pattern recommends a 7mm and a 3.75. I started with that. It was way off. Well, actually, first I did a swatch in just the small needle. I didn't even realize it was like this.
Oh.
I thought the whole thing was in 3.75. So that was my first swatch. Complete failure, not even close. Then I dug the book out and I'm like, oh, I have to swatch in the stitch pattern,
right,
which is using both of these. So I did it. 7 and 3.75, way too big. Went down to 6.5 and 3.75, way too big. Went down to 6 and 3.5 and finally got what I was supposed to get.
Right.
So that was kind of an ordeal, but before I started, I did notice on Ravelry that a lot of projects were down to people's knees.
Yeah.
And that is not the design. So I think they probably just didn't swatch and it was all down to their knees.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say a lot, but I noticed a few that were definitely longer than what they were supposed to be, and I did not want that at all. I don't want a tunic. I want it to be a little jaunty top. So that's that. So I'm absolutely loving it.
Before we go on, I see you've got, you don't have Chiago needles on here.
No.
Because if you own Chiago needles, then you know that one size, the 6.5, takes a large cable, and the 3.5.
It's actually 6, but yeah.
Or 6.
Yeah.
Takes a large cable, and the 3.5 would take a small
Yeah.
cable. So, but there are adapters.
Yeah. I could have done it in Chiago.
Yeah, so...
It would have taken some gear.
Yeah. So there's like a little adapter that goes from a large to a small,
And a small to a mini.
If I had thought about this before we came to do this, I would have. Wonder if you could put the adapter right on the end of the needle.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
That would make it more convenient.
Yeah. Rather than doing,
Yes,
because we were
probably.
thinking about with the cord.
Yeah.
But if you
Still one cord size and just adapt the needle on the end. Yeah. We'll try that for next time.
There'll be a title.
So,
maybe.
yeah. So I was struggling with the lack of splicing, and it's quite lumpy bumpy back here where I joined, and I didn't really think a Russian join in a cotton yarn as thick as this was going to be a great idea. This is like an 8-ply or something like that.
Yeah.
I just thought that's going to be, I can see doing it in wool, but in cotton it just didn't seem that great. So you had a really good suggestion, which was just switch the yarns on the edge.
Yeah.
So you waste a teeny tiny bit, but that puts all your messiness in the seam.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's the right call. I'd love to rip this out. Like, I wish I hadn't made that mess. But anyway, it's...
Oh, well. It's black.
Yeah, it won't show, but, I get to be a perfectionist. But one thing is this is one of these ones where they're like, reverse the shaping.
Yeah. You have it back. You're showing it back.
Okay.
Right?
And
I
then
don't like
from...
to see those.
From one shoulder to the next, I've got a problem here. Like, when I went to bind off, I was left with an orphan stitch over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you can't bind off in the same direction you do from one side to the other when you're reversing the shaping.
Right.
So I have to redo this now. I can't remember which side is right and which side is wrong, but they're definitely not the same. Like, look at this thing out here.
Yeah.
It's just a few rows. It's going to take nothing to fix, but if you know what I should do, like, because you did it for that, but you can't remember exactly
For
how.
the Cornwallis.
Yeah. I think what you have to do is reverse, like, you'll be binding off on the wrong side versus the right side when you mirror image it. But there's no instructions.
Yeah. Just says
reverse it.
Yeah.
Don't love it. Because it's really hard to figure out, I think.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is basically, like, take the shoulders out to where they need to be. I'm going to do the one that there is instructions for, and then I'm going to write the opposite.
Yeah.
And see exactly how many rows, because I'm fairly certain I have either one too few rows over here or one too many over here, as I tried to, like, get back to where I needed to be to bind off without having your orphan at the end.
Right. I'm going to look because...
You may have written it down?
Yeah, I may have written it down. or Martin Storey may have given a little bit more instruction than that.
Okay.
Seems to me that
Martin?
I still did it wrong the first time I did it, so I just backed it out and then
if you got it wrong,
yeah,
it's not super easy then.
I'm not the example you want to follow for trying to switch things around in my head. Like I can't.
Well, who is then?
Yeah, well, some people. But for me,
anyway, if you know the answer, if you've done all kinds of Rowan patterns, you've probably come across this. So I think what you have to do is reverse the wrong side, right side that you're doing it on. But then am I still going to end up with an extra row?
Yeah.
Like I need to match the rows somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. And I can't really pick. I might have been able to think of something when I saw it on the needles, but...
So I'm going to rip them both back to the original 19 stitches.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's like this much.
Okay.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Because you bind off 4 right away and then 4 the next row. And then, so I'm going to rip them both back to the 19 stitches that you originally start with. And then I'm going to do it... Maybe I'll do them 2 at a time. Wouldn't that work well? Because if you're working in mirror image, it would help you to go from one, okay, I did this over here. I need to do this over there.
Right. Like we're all about the 2 at a time.
I just feel like in this case, it would actually make it easier because you wouldn't have to worry about getting an extra row.
That's right.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned. But if you have advice, bring it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my sunset. My Galbraith.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, how you say it. Galbraith.
Yeah.
We got a lot of advice.
Yeah.
Is in suspended animation because the yarn's not arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shipping tomorrow.
Right.
We got confirmation.
Oh, we did? Of my treacle?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's... so
I'll have both of these projects done by next recording.
So that'll be by the end of next week that'll come.
Perfect.
So the stuff that shipped yesterday is going to be here on the 9th. And then that would be 2 days later. So it'll be here at the end.
Yay!
Yeah.
So I can get back to that. Okay.
Yeah. So now you want an update on your sweater.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very excited about it.
So I know I was warned about coming to the podcast to show this sweater in the middle of a row, but here we are. Not just in between the 2 pieces, but it really literally in the middle of a row because somebody is knitting a sock, not me.
Not me.
Yeah. And all of a sudden needs help. So we got through the shaping for the heel, turning the heel, no problem. Now we're on the picking up for the gusset. So that, of course, was more important than me putting the head on my stay.
The second sock, though?
The second sock, yes.
But didn't he already pick up the gusset?
Yes.
On the first sock? Okay.
That's right. So you're making a big assumption that it's easier to read the instructions yourself than to ask me.
Okay. It's not?
No, it's easier to ask me. And then guess what happens?
Especially when you have a headache. I wouldn't be. He's a brave man. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is in the middle. But here we're going to unveil. I have to just flip this around a little bit. So for those that haven't
gosh. So cute.
It's undoing the front and the back Okay. I'm doing the front and the back on the same needle. So I just have to flip this.
There's balls going everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we'll just hold it.
Oh, and these stitch stoppers are back in stock too.
Knits,
a lot of people wanted them after last time. The rainbow ones. We still have the gray ones, but if you're like me, you like bright colors.
Yeah,
we'll have the rainbow ones again.
All right, so there it is.
It's so cute.
So it's
even better in person. Like I love it. Love.
Yeah.
It actually is looking a little bit big. Uh-oh.
Well, it's a unisex sweater, so it's not going to be tight.
Yeah, okay. What size are you making?
Small.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Yeah.
I don't want to slipping away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? Because you think it won't fit me.
Okay. Looks like it might.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm ready. This is the very first row where you start doing the detail on the head. So I'm getting there. So this is supposed to be intarsia, but I'm doing a mix of intarsia and just traditional color work. So I'll show the back. So the only rule that I made for myself was that I won't carry navy behind the white because I'm afraid you'd be able to see it.
Yeah, you would.
And in fact, even there's been a few places where my yarns have gotten mixed up and some of the fiber from the navy has gotten in, so I have to pick that out. So I'm not doing that like with all these.
You mean like it just randomly stuck to it?
Yeah, it's it's a bit sticky.
Okay.
This yarn. So we already talked about that. That's
Okay.
why I have it balled up instead of knitting right from the donut.
Mm-hmm.
So here you can see lots of bobbins, but also just some typical
And I mean,
color.
that must save quite a bit of time just doing floats with the parts that you
Yeah.
can float with.
Yeah, exactly. And I talked about this at the last episode. I have done a whole thing about the fact that I weave in the floats rather than just cross them. But in this case, I'm crossing them because when you weave in, it's more. You have a chance of seeing the yarn more
Right.
between the stitches.
Right.
Whereas if you
Because
just cross
it's
it,
tacked.
it's tacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I'm just looping them.
And there's
in.
such small
yeah
amounts.
some-
Like, who would care?
Yeah. And I would normally weave in every third or fourth stitch when I'm doing color work. With this, I'm going up to 6 without doing it. And you just have to be careful that you've got enough room on your stitches that you're not pulling your floats too tight. So
And you're using the strings for the entire part, not big bobbins.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that was a recommendation from a viewer.
Yeah.
That this yarn is really, really easy to spit splice. So I'm just pulling off, like with the navy, probably this, I only have one ball right now, but probably something about this long.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just let it hang.
Yeah.
And
So
pull it as I need it.
I was watching an episode of Fruity Knitting last night, and Andrea was wearing her blossom sweater. Do you
Oh,
remember the
yeah.
bobbins
I
with
love
that?
that.
And I think she
Yeah.
got kind of. At one point, she was talking about what a nightmare it was, and she had like 67 bobbins or something.
I don't know.
I'm thinking just the string would have been.
Yeah.
Because that's knit in Felted Tweed, is that right?
I think so, yeah.
And you could just spit splice your way through it.
Yeah.
Like, nose to the 67 bobbins.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah. Wow. That's, especially with what I'm doing now. That was, anyway, I'm past that part.
Right.
It's, once you get through this part where all the little stripes are, it's really TV knitting. It's really,
Which is great.
It's easy.
I'm
yeah.
loving the project I'm working
chart?
on, too.
Is a bit small.
Okay.
So I come up with a couple tricks, but we'll talk about
Okay,
that
more
later.
on that because we got to ask us anything about tiny charts and overly succinct instructions, which we both happen to be dealing with overly succinct instructions and tiny charts.
That's right. So we'll have lots to talk about that.
Very apropos, that question.
Yeah. So, so that's that. Oh, I forgot that I was gonna. Oh, okay, it's a drip.
A drip? Okay, what's
Yeah.
your drip?
If somebody asked what a drip was,
Didn't we just say that?
I don't
It's
know.
a dream in progress. So a drip, yeah, a dream in progress.
Dream
What
in
is
progress.
it?
So, I actually got a message from Lynette Meek.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Lynette
yes.
Meek in that is the beautiful designer behind the Roamin Hat,
Right.
which I absolutely love. I'm all about like swinging those tassels
Yeah,
around. It's right.
we got that last
She
time.
she used my picture on her Ravelry
Oh, nice.
page
It
too.
was a good picture.
Yeah, it was. So so then we had a little correspondence, and I looked at her Ravelry page for her designs, and she's got like 216 designs there. So lots of hats and beautiful things, but she's got these fabulous tea cozies. Mm-hmm. And there's one called Whistle Thistle and Heather, I think it's called.
Okay.
So I'm knitting that one. I'm going to
Okay.
knit that next, and that's just going to be a fun little project.
And what
like
are you
the hat.
knitting that out of?
I think I'll knit it in Felted Tweed.
Okay.
Or I might do it in the Selkirk worsted.
I feel like Felted Tweed wouldn't make a super cozy tea cozy.
No, I think I might do it in. I don't know. I'll have to look. I
Okay.
can't remember exactly what size yarn it takes, but it's got kind of like little details on it and stuff. So I think maybe something a little bit stiffer. You're right.
Yeah, I think
Cut that
Felted
Felted
Tweed
Tweed part out.
cozy would be a little bit limp. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lovely yarn, but not for a tea cozy,
Yeah.
possibly.
A little bit drapey for.
So yeah, so that sort of brings us to the shop update.
Yes.
And we've created a kit for the Roamin Hat.
Yes, we just have a few.
We have a few.
Yeah.
Because people requested it. And a lot of
Yeah.
people did buy the yarn for the project in full balls. And
Yeah.
that's fine. You're still getting you're paying for the full yardage. The people who take the kit have to pay for my labor to break it up.
Yeah.
So we just don't want you to feel like you should have waited for the kit or whatever. Some people really didn't want to buy the 5 full balls.
Yeah.
And so we've done this for those people. So
Yeah.
those are listed now. Link to buy it is in the show notes. I think we have 8.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because we're not prepared to break up a bunch of Felted Tweed, a
Yeah.
bunch of commercial yarn to make
Yeah.
kits. When it's our own yarn and we can run it off the skeiner that way, That's one thing. But to take a cake and wind it off by hand to create a kit is something we're only going to do once. And it's done now, so those are listed.
You're just dying to have that hat. So,
if you're dying to have the hat?
Well, it's really cute.
Yeah.
I have it in the shop now. Yeah. Everybody talks about it.
And somebody bought like 2 bilberry so they can make 2 so that they don't have to waste all that extra yarn. Yeah. And I mean, those colors of felted tweed are probably used in 100 patterns each. So it won't go to waste, but some people really wanted, the cost was prohibitive to buy the 5 full balls. So we made a few of those for the people who asked. Okay. So, 10 years in the making arrived.
Yes.
I meant to bring the book out with me, but I forgot.
Okay.
We just ordered more because our full first order went out the door almost right away.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really nice book. Right. Really nice. Now we've held it in our little hands. Yes. We're even more enthusiastic. And of course, everything Kate does is wonderful. Yeah.
Right.
So that is back if you missed out. And then you got a couple other books that you added to our collection you want to talk about.
So I love books.
Oh, most people do, don't they?
Yeah. And so we restocked on the Norwegian designs, the 90 years of Norwegian designs, whatever it's called.
Norwegian knitting?
Norwegian knitting designs 90 years later.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Full title.
Okay.
So we've got more of those coming in, and that book is fantastic. We talked about that a lot. So then while I was ordering that, I went through the list of other books that are available because the distributor that we buy from has really, really good knitting and crochet books. So I personally bought this next book for myself. One of the rabbits ate
a couple years ago. Oh yeah,
ate the corners of it. But this little gem is people knitting. And it is such a sweet book that it gives you joy when you look at it. So I ordered a few of them because I'm not sure when it came out. It was really popular. Like it sold tens of thousands of copies. But it's been a while. I think it was 2013. I want to say, or maybe somewhere around there. And it's just a book with pictures. It's a
history of people knitting.
People knitting. Yes.
Yeah. And there's like whoever this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's there's a few famous people.
Yeah.
There's the different times when people knit.
Right.
Like this is probably like during the war and things like that. And it goes back it's photographs. And then there's little
bits and quotes and things.
Exactly. And there's details about all of the photographs in the back.
Yeah.
So there's it's all referenced. And it's just delightful to look at. It's just
it's like a coffee table book for knitters.
Yeah, only a little tiny one.
Teeny one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really people
fun.
knitting. So that is listed now.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And we had a customer come in the store that had this book and said, you have to get it. So I said, okay, I will. So it's Harry Potter Knitting Magic. So I have watched all of the Harry Potter movies and like them, but I'm not I can't name anybody other than the main characters because that's, I'm not into Harry Potter like some people are. You're not really a big fantasy.
I don't do fantasy period.
No. So you don't really.
Except for Outlander. That's about as fantastical as I get.
Yeah. So, but this book is actually really beautiful. It has beautiful patterns.
Can you knit this owl?
No, but there is a little. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. I took a good look at it because we always come here with new
there's
books.
Birds and stuff.
Yeah. So there's a little. See the little.
Oh, okay.
It's a little mobile. So there it gives you the animals there. Then there's a whole section on creatures.
You can knit the owl.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Love it.
So the owl, and then there's fairies and stuff like that you can knit. And then, but this is, so even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, there's a few things in here, like the school sweaters.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that are really nice. And it gives you all the different house colorways that you have. There's shawls, there's gloves, there's jewelry, there's magic scarves that have illusions knit in them. And you have like insignias for a cape. And then there's just some really nice like color work mittens. They also give you charts for letters And numbers.
This I love. This sweater I'm in love with.
Yeah.
The owl post pullover. Look at that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a really quality, like the patterns are really, really nice. So it's not just something, it's taking advantage of Harry Potter.
Like cheesy.
Yeah, not at all.
And it's by Tanis Gray.
Yeah.
Neat.
So, and it's all different yarns. So a lot of them I haven't even heard of. So there's no like big name yarns in here for the most part. There's a couple, but if you, it's pretty general, I would say about that. But the designs are really cute.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a
new
cool book.
Neat. Very neat.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll see how that, if people like that, and then we can order more. Like we just bought in a few to see if there's any interest. So.
Yeah, which is usually how we do it.
Yeah. Then we ran out right
so
away.
we did the books and we did the Roamin kit, and now you're going to do a yarn review with Rowan Kid Silkays.
Yes.
Okay. Which we brought some here.
Yeah. So Kid Silkays is probably between Kid Silkays and Felted Tweed that are the two most well-known yarns that Rowan makes. And I like fluffy stuff. So Kid Silkays was the first yarn we brought in for the store because I wanted to use it in stranding.
It's versatile,
It's very versatile. But I don't think people really realize how versatile it actually is. So there's the fluff, but there's also the mohair and the silk that give strength to it. So I'm going to talk, there's 39 colors. We have them all that are available. So you can check on our website. It's fine, but it's not as fine as you would expect.
Yeah, and you don't knit with it with a fine needle typically.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like you're there with a 1 millimeter knitting a lace silk thread.
Yeah,
People seem to get intimidated by it, but you typically knit it with a much larger needle.
Yes. So in fact, the gauge is. Can you read that?
Oh yeah, right. I think we're past the point where I have better eyesight.
Okay, it's actually bigger than you think.
I can't even see where it is on here.
I had it right.
No, but that's
there.
just a bunch of. Oh, okay. I didn't even know there were numbers there.
Okay,
10 to 6 US. Or is that UK? A 3 to an 8 UK or a 10 to a 6.
Okay, never mind.
3 millimeter. No, 3 to 8 US. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like 23 stitches.
3.5 to 5 millimeter. UK, US, and then 3.5 to 5 millimeter.
And the gauge?
No.
Not going to happen?
16, 18 to 25.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So thicker than what you would think.
Right.
So here's what you can do with it. Obviously, we've all talked about stranding it with another yarn just to give a little bit of fluff. And it does change your gauge because it's not invisible thread. So, so they're stranding it with that. There also have been people that have said that if you knit it into the heels of your socks, what happens is it gives it a little bit of strength as well, and then the mohair
with felt. Oh wow!
Yes,
that's brilliant.
So that helps to strengthen.
You should get Ken to do that with his heel.
He's knitting out of one of the first balls of yarn that we ever made.
Okay.
He's got plenty of strength.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
No problem.
But that is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a good tip. And the other thing that's surprising, if anybody remembers this little baby, this is my Birds of a Feather that I did. And I used it's not even worsted. The thickness of this yarn that I have, it's a special yarn that we did a couple years ago. It's probably would be considered like a heavy worsted yarn or a very light Aran. And the instructions were to knit the silk mohair in between in the stripes. It's a single strand. And I was like, there's no way this is going to work.
Together, yeah.
How is that going to hold together? And you have it stripes.
Little mini stripes
mini stripes here.
Yeah.
And then big sections. And it's perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's easier than you think to knit with.
I'm going to put this on because it's getting chilly as the sun goes down.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of
Wrap me up in
fabric.
it. Oh, so nice.
It is nice, isn't it?
Okay, so much better. I was gonna start shivering.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get my hot water.
So
bottle.
you can see it's completely see-through, but there's the strength, and you're knitting it on the same needle size as you're doing the other parts, and it holds its own. It's perfect. So you can use it like that.
And then we have it alone. Oh no, that's with the.
So then we have it. This is a swatch that was done for the Earhart shawl. That was in book 66.
No,
67. 67 with white, shown in white with these candy stripes on it. This is knit. It's also alone and striped with the fine lace, the Rowan fine lace. So then you get something that's airy and smooth.
This is beautiful too.
So they're
freezing.
They're roughly the same weight.
Yeah.
So you get a different effect than you get from this big cushy. And
you can also knit it on its own held double.
That's exactly where I was going next.
Yep.
So the Rosso cardigan that I had on in the episode that's in magazine 64, which we're also getting more. I love that magazine. Rowan 64 is held double, and unfortunately you can't feel it, but the fabric,
it's incredibly how thick it was.
Yes.
It's just this held double.
Yes. It's a really squishy. It's light as air, but it's has
pretty
thickness
cushiony.
to it. Yeah, pretty cushy.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really versatile yarn. So if you haven't tried something with it, I would recommend it. You're gonna be hooked. It's
and there are some people who do not like mohair at all, in which case
then you won't be hooked.
You've just fast forwarded past this. But if you don't mind mohair, it's amazing. You can do a lot with it.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's not just we have people come into the shop that haven't seen it before and said,
"You're knitting with thread." But it's not like that.
What would you knit with that?
Yeah,
but
you're like this or this, and then oh, really? Yeah,
it's really surprising.
You use larger needles.
Yeah. So that's it.
And I have a project planned with Kid Silkes for my spring Rowan spring.
Yes.
Project.
And surprising, no one was more surprised than us that if you mix it, because we were stranding it with wool, but if you mix it with cotton, we've talked about this before.
Crazy beautiful.
Yes, it is absolutely gorgeous. Heaven. It feels so I don't know why, because it's
silky and soft and like a nice drapey, dense but slippy. Yeah,
it's like mercury.
Yeah, it's amazing. You kind of have to feel it to understand.
Yeah, it's really.
There's
really
a project
nice.
in magazine 67 that uses that with the cotton. Too.
Yeah,
and there's probably some in other books. I think Rowan does that quite often. Puts that with cotton, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's completely surprising.
Yeah. You couldn't really understand it unless you had felt it, like I said.
So there's your deep dive on Kid Silkes.
Okay, nice.
We're fans.
Kid Silkes with everything.
It's kind of like cherry juice.
Yeah. Put it in your chocolate.
Yeah.
Eat it with a spoon. All right, so we had some Ask Us Anythings.
Okay.
So first Ask Us Anything was R.L. McKinnon 6. And she sent us a big long story about our cousin Nancy, who runs the Kaylee and Bedeck.
Oh, was that her?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And in answer to your question, her name is Nancy, not Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's right.
But if it was a Nancy, then it could have been our cousin. And did she live in Toronto for a period of time?
She lived in Toronto for a long time.
Okay.
And unfortunately, she just passed away.
Yes.
She
did. A couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I was in Bedeck after she passed away and asked if someone was going to continue on the Kaylee. And the rumor was that there was a young, I think a gentleman that had been working with her for the last couple seasons who was going to continue it on, but nobody was Kayleeing last summer regardless. So hopefully somebody does pick up the torch for Nancy and continue that. Because a good time was had by all at the Bedeck Kaylee many nights over the last few summers since Nancy started that. So that's our cousin. It's like a second cousin once removed or something like that.
It's my father's cousin, or our father's cousin.
But she had another question, which was, is there a network for farmers to take time off when they get sick or other backup, like some kind of system that we run here where we'll watch your farm if you want? No.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Farmers don't get sick.
There are things as there's like people will come and babysit your farm
if you can find someone that you would trust with several hundred animals.
Yeah, that's right.
To not kill anything.
Yeah. So you'd have to have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
The one thing that is fairly common though is relief milkers.
Okay.
So that is actually a thing.
Right.
So I had a friend that when I lived in Montreal, ironically, I had a friend that was a relief milker. So she that was her job. She'd go around to different farms and milk the cows if they had to go somewhere, because obviously you can't even leave a cow more than 12 hours.
Not a dairy cow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. And from time to time we'll have somebody that will ask us if we need a farm sitter that they would come, but it's a little bit unless you knew the person.
I think too it's training them, right? Like I think we probably are interested in having a farm sitter, but you got to make the investment to have them come enough that they really know what your system is and what you're doing every morning, and then if you only need it sporadically, because there's typically been 3 or 4 of us, we haven't really needed it per se. It was sort of not worth the effort to try to train somebody when there's 2 other people living here, and generally we've covered it that way, but it would be a good thing to have.
So, and we have Heather comes and helps us once a week. So I mean, if you know, we could, she's certainly trustworthy and she's trying to get into vet school, so she's, you know, that would be, but even that, doing morning chores with us, you're not really exposed to everything that goes on.
No.
It's easier now to think about that because we're not lambing, but I mean, just looking after but there's stuff that happens that in
the summer it might be feasible, but the way we put our hay out alone would be just be an ordeal for anybody coming from.
They could do it, but it's going to take them half the
somebody
day.
Like Heather could definitely do it in the summertime. You just basically go out, make sure there's grass and everybody's still breathing,
and their water is filled.
And water, and make sure there's no runny poop.
But as far as an organized agency for relief farmers, no.
Would be great though.
Yeah.
But thank you for submitting the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Northwest Dawn, who I think had a question last episode, wanted to know what we do to make the Rowan patterns easier to read and follow, because they're tiny, they're succinct, and the charts are small.
Right.
So
first of all, let's just say they're very well written.
Yes. There's no mistakes in them.
There's no mistakes in them. And the instructions are complete. They just don't take a lot of time explaining techniques and
how to reverse the shaping.
How to reverse the shaping,
for example. So I'm following. Typically, I photocopy them a section at a time and blow them up slightly.
Yeah.
This is what I'm following from the book. It's okay. I mean, one thing about Rowan patterns is they're never more than a page and a half.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's why they're succinct,
yeah.
right? So it obviously saves them on publishing costs, and books cost a fortune to produce, so I can understand why. But I just use the camera on my phone, zoom in, and take the section I'm working with, and I would just print that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the Rowan magazines do not provide their patterns digitally for the Rowan magazine. So that, I looked into Knit Companion, because some people had mentioned that. And that works if you have a PDF.
Right.
So it's really just, a way to
blow stuff up?
A way to blow stuff up. I mean, they've thought of everything.
Yeah.
It looks like it's fantastic. And I know a lot of people, I haven't heard anything bad about it. But if you don't have a PDF,
you can't do anything with it.
You'd have to make a PDF from the magazine. So here's the truth of the thing. Is that the magazine, because I've knit a couple patterns out of the magazine now. So to photocopy it, you've got to really
Yeah, and you don't want to do that to your magazine.
Yeah, you don't really want to crack the spine of it.
And it's big. It's like 12 inches. So if your printer,
if you've got a printer that has a
8.5 by 11.
Like an 8.5 by 11, like most home printers do, it's not that easy, but you have to do it by section.
Yeah.
So with the pattern that I'm using for the Rein, it's 130 rows and 104 stitches, and it's on an 8.5 by 11 page is what I got. So
I've seen it. It's
like
tiny.
It's tiny. So I can still read it. It's not, and because the design is so bold, that it's kind of easy to follow.
Yeah, it's not like you're making little blossoms with 12 different colors
No, that's right. But I actually take a pen and my ruler and I line off every second or third row that I do just to keep track.
I line off stuff too,
Yeah.
cross them out.
Yeah,
I was doing that on my slipper.
We could get that, you can get transparent tape as well that you can put over like a highlighting tape, which would work well as well. But it is a little bit of you can't get the PDF.
Yeah.
And
so I use my phone, I blow it up, and then I take a picture.
Yeah, that's the way I read the size of my needles too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Chiagus aren't too bad.
I don't actually take the picture. I just look at it.
Now they've made it bigger. It's not too bad, but I have some that I can't read.
Yeah. And I use a needle gauge.
I mean, that's where Knitter's Pride has everybody beat.
Yeah.
Their things embossed are huge.
Yeah.
Like I can read their numbers, no problem. But for some reason, Knit Picks and Chiagu never got on the big embossed.
Yeah. Anyway, I hate to tell you, but at some point, it won't matter how big they are.
No, these ones you really could. Seriously. If I have my glasses on, I can read most of them.
Yeah.
If I don't have my glasses on, it's like they're not even there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm lucky I can see the needle.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for sending that question. Hope that helps. I mean, I use my phone.
Yeah.
Blow the stuff up. Or if you can get a PDF, which I think her point is you can't.
Yeah.
Then use the Knit Companion.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Toad Hall Knitter asked, how much yarn yardage could you expect from 2 sheep? How much does it cost to feed and care for a couple sheep for a year? And would we consider fostering sheep where somebody pays their expenses and they get the yarn in exchange?
Yeah.
So we'll cover the last part first because it's easy, and it is no, we won't do a foster program just because, for one thing, we use the wool ourselves. And for us to be...
That's a good one.
For us to spin one fleece at a time and then ship it out, it would slow the mill down way too much. We just don't have the production time to kind of like divide things out like that. That's a really small homesteady way of doing it. And if you have a small homestead, you probably don't have a Belfast mini mill.
No.
Because what would be the point?
Yeah.
So it's just too time consuming to create the yarn in teeny tiny batches like that. For hand spinning, perhaps, if you were going to spin it yourself. And the yardage depends on the weight and the breed of sheep. So they did say that they weren't sure, like it depends, could be the answer to all of these questions, which is true. But like our average sheep that we have probably produces 7 or 8 pounds a year.
If that.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
Cut that in half because half of it's lanolin.
Yeah, so we'll just go, we've done this before, but we'll just do it again.
Right.
So it's probably more like 5 or 6 usable pounds because there's a lot of wool that is just taken off right from the beginning.
The belly and stuff like that.
The belly and around the back end and all that. You don't even bother trying to do anything with that. So you probably 5 or 6 pounds. The lanolin, after you wash the lanolin off, you can lose up to 45% of the weight goes out in dirt and lanolin. So now you're down to, I did the math when we did it before. So what is it? It's like 3 pounds.
3.5 pounds.
Yeah, you got 3.5 pounds left. And then when you start the spinning process, there's losses at every stage of the production because you have like short fibers fall out and so forth. So from one sheep, you probably end up with 2 pounds of yarn,
which would be about
maybe
8 balls.
8 balls of yarn, yeah.
So we can't spin 8 balls at a time. So that's why no foster program.
So
and then the cost to feed and care for them, it really depends on if you have grass all summer or not. And the quality of your grass or your hay in the winter. So if you don't have to feed grain, it's significantly cheaper. But you have to have very high protein pasture. It would basically have to be planted specifically for sheep with extremely high protein mix.
Because regular Timothy hay is not suitable for sheep.
If you have really high quality grass that regrows 2 or 3 times over the summer, that's free. Other than fertilizer, it doesn't cost anything. But then when you have to buy hay in, a sheep will eat 4 pounds a day of hay. And a 400
a regular 35-pound square bale will feed 5 adult sheep that are not growing or whatever a day.
And those are about $5 now.
No, I think
Or
they're much
$10.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen them for 12.
So $10 a
listed
day
too.
for 5 sheep. Oh,
Yeah.
12.
I've
Wow,
seen
it's
that.
gone up a lot
Yeah,
since
good
we got
quality.
here. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't have the protein that you need in it, you have to supplement that with grain. So you can add on to that.
Yeah.
Another $2 or $3
Yeah.
worth of soy or barley or oats or whatever you're throwing in.
You have to do rations, we do have ration. I have a table that we do rations.
Yeah.
When we have our hay tested, so sometimes you might need to do a little bit more soy because that's more protein.
So then 2 sheep would be about $5 a day.
Yeah.
Except for the days when you have the free lovely grass available, assuming it's rich enough to feed them on its own. And then vet bills and stuff. I mean, sheep are pretty hardy.
Yeah.
But the minute something goes wrong, hundreds of dollars is a typical vet bill.
Yeah.
I mean, if they come out, they investigate something, they treat it, you're looking at probably $200 a call.
Yeah.
So, like, I got a bill recently, just my horse had an abscess, and just to have come out, evaluate. We did do a couple little other things, because in horse legs, you're usually very picky about what's going on.
Yeah.
Legs are super important.
Yeah.
It was about $200.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Which is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
As far as vet bills go. So here we're pretty
considering,
lucky.
Yeah, it is very reasonable. Considering they come to your house.
That's why farmers learn to do most of it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking after animals is not cheap.
No.
Yeah, or easy. I mean, feeding them would be a lot cheaper if there was actually grass for them to eat.
Yeah.
Because that is what sheep eat, grass.
That was the idea.
That was the idea. But when you have no rain, you have no grass, and then you have no free food.
Yeah.
And if you don't
all
have
your
that,
rain comes on February 2nd.
Right. And like you count on that averaging.
Yeah.
It's free for this 4 months, and then we pay for that 8 months. But now we pay for 11 months.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in ideal conditions, you might have them on pasture from June till October,
right?
If you've stockpiled and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but not now. We have them on the grass from June till
land.
June.
Yeah,
if we're lucky.
We have enough land, and then the other thing is that you have to graze them over. Although we haven't had to worry about this, but they won't eat it if it's too mature either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
This is not tender green shoots.
Yeah. then it's actually more of a problem.
Yeah. Then you got to mow it down.
Yeah.
Figure out what to do with it when you can't make your own hay.
Yeah.
And hope that they eat it once it's on the ground or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, I hope that answers your question.
This is one of these answers that people are saying, why do you do it then? Some days we ask
don't
ourselves.
We thought there'd be grass.
Then when you go into the barn in the morning and their sweet little faces are looking at you over the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're sweet. They're lovely animals. They're actually really good company in a way. You know, they have little personalities and things, but
the nuts and bolts of the whole thing are
it's not, you have to be really smart about it or you'll definitely lose money. Yeah, you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
No.
And we have a lot of them, so we have to be really diligent.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was 3 great questions. Thank you so much for everyone who sent stuff in. And if you're not aware, our Ask Us Anything thread is on Ravelry in our Ravelry group. So if you have questions, go on over there and submit them.
Yeah. And
we answer them all.
And we'll answer questions on our community forum as well.
Yes.
Kim and Ken.
Ask Kim and Jen.
Kim and Jen.
They can ask Ken if they want.
Yeah.
And so now we're heading over to the harmony part.
Right.
All right, good. We'll just go over there and have a quiet moment.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Mm-hmm. Join our Ravelry group. Log into our community forum. And subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get... we're going to actually be posting a little more often coming up here. We've got some different... playlists and stuff I'm trying to get going, so it does help to be have the notification bell clicked, and then you'll know right away as soon as we post a video.
Right.
Sometimes we do sneaky things like post them in between.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to miss it.
No.
All right, thanfs everybody.
Okay, have a good 2 weeks.
Yes, we'll see you when we're through our caffeine withdrawal.
Yeah.
We've got our reverse the shaping all sorted out.
All
the yarns arrived.
Reindeer has a head.
The antlers will be on the reindeer. Yeah. It'll be really exciting. Okay.
Peace and harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.